everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Live with Bill Tucci.
Behold his mighty hand.
Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang, Tucci gang.
Just want to manage expectations.
Weird.
This is the worst.
What's up, werewolves? That's new of mine. It's teen sensation Billy Tucci welcoming you to a special Friday Night Live with Bill Tucci. I was going to do it last night, but I felt like I was rushing it because we were loading up our San Diego Comic-Con exclusives as a pre-order for those of you who pre-sale, if you will, or order. For those of you who cannot make Comic-Con, and we're going to be talking about all the cool stuff we have. And I got a couple of pals who are going to join us. Two of them coming from all the way from the left coast. And, well, one of them just said hello all. So why don't we bring in my friend Tex, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. J.C. Jeffrey Curtis Vaughn. Hello, old bean.
Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are.
Good evening. I like the vast array of, looks like Star Wars toys behind.
Well, I'm in Lefty's office.
Yeah, is that Star Wars toys?
Yeah, it's Star Trek, Star Wars.
I have a lot of those things too, you know, lots of them.
Well,
I got like an original B-Wing fighter over here. They're all in piles. A Y-Wing fighter, an A-Wing fighter, X-Wing, all this stuff that I collected way later on. But aside from that, let's bring in someone who is who's had a bit of a very interesting week. And thank God he's here, though. He had an accident. Totally not prepared, Jeff. You could tell. Ladies and gentlemen,
you're on the roll here.
Yeah, my friend John from John's Long Box. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
How you doing, JC? How you doing, Billy? Thanks for having me on.
Good. We have another guest in who's one of our partners in crimes. One of my favorite people since I met him the first day of school of 7th grade back in North Babylon, New York on Long Island. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Stephen George Peros. What's up?
I'll tell you what's up. My temperature's up because J.C. Vaughn there is actually like 3 blocks from my house, and I had no idea.
What do you mean? I asked him if you guys were going to get together. And
I had no idea.
You asked me, and what did I say, Billy?
Yes, right? You're going to try?
No, that's not what I said. I said,
you said the hell with it.
I said if I ever finish shipping the price guide.
Oh.
And it's still not done.
Oh, that wait. What is like? What does that have to do with anything?
Well, San Diego is in like 3 days.
San Diego is the release of it.
I understand. So what are you even doing here? Why even hanging out at
because
Marquis?
Because I had already bought the ticket, and thank goodness I bought the ticket on JetBlue and not American or Delta.
Yeah,
I think we're flying Delta.
Well, it should be fixed by next week. But have you seen the airports today? When I looked at 3 o'clock, there were still people there that got there at 3 a.m. Eastern.
Astonishing.
It was, yeah. I mean, and will not name Rosina's employer, but their email was down most of the day, and she works in imaging.
Oh my!
In healthcare, and they couldn't send images.
My goodness! Wow,
so it's affecting a lot of people.
Well, that's not my fault, so that's good.
I think that we have pinned it down to you.
There's no question.
Well, maybe it is. I want to say hello to some of the people. We got Mrs. Stippling. Thank you for reminding me, Miss Stipp. I've got my toasted pumpkin that I took out because
it was look at that.
Today. Yeah, Mrs. Stipp makes these handmade Sent beautiful scented candles.
Sandmaid, huh?
No, scented candles. I have saddlewood. I might go with saddlewood. Made with love. So thank you so much, Miss Step. Oh, Perros, look at that.
What am I looking at? Oh, it's lovely.
Oh, tobacco
Lovely.
vanilla. We gotta have some of that. Let's have a little bit of that. Oh, if you could smell it. Oh.
Well, in the days where we have smell-o-vision, we'll be there.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Don't tune into my channel when we get smell-o-vision. I'm warning you right now.
Television. Well, I want to say hello to everybody watching right now. We just launched our San Diego Comic-Con exclusives on www.billytucci.com. I want to say hello to some people out there. So we have, let's go up with Glitch. Good to see you. JC Vaughn, always good to see you, old bean. Sons of Zeus, Aaron Louvier. Is that Louvier? Louvier? Tarks9, good to see you, my friend. Thank you, the She Action figure. We worked really hard on it. We're really proud of it. Just kind of weird about that. And I'll come back around about the action figure. Mrs. Stippling Vaughn, of course, always great to see you. Enrico Wellburn, good to see you too, my friend. Let's hear the great Dan Genovese. Perros, you got to meet Dan Genovese.
I can't wait.
You would love the great Dan Genovese. A man of a fine appreciation of cigars and whiskey. A learned man. John, have you met him?
No.
He's awesome. He's a good chap.
But thanks for the great words there, Enrico. Yeah.
Yes, and the great, of course, Marcus Killigrew, our walking encyclopedia. We're all appreciative of you. Troy Delgado, good to see you too. So many of you wondering.
Nice group for coming in on an off night.
Yes, it is. And thank you guys for joining us. I know it's we're having a good day.
Did I meet Dan at Free Comic Book Day?
What's that?
Didn't I meet Dan at Free Comic Book Day when I met you? Wasn't Dan there?
I don't know if Dan was there this year. Dan, were you there this year? I know Dan was there last year. We all went to lunch, but maybe Dan was there this year. He'll let us know. He's always a good time. He's a good guy to hang out with. It's someone I always look forward to hanging with. So
yes,
John,
yes, we did meet.
You're wondering, last time I saw you, I was supposed to do your show on Wednesday.
Yeah,
you had a big old beard.
Yeah,
now you have a beard, and you have a neck beard, if you will.
Yeah, and JC, last time you met me, you probably don't even recognize me.
It is. I mean, literally, when I closed my eyes and listened to your voice, sure, but until then, man, you.
Yeah, I was famous for my Odin beard, my Santa Claus beard, but
yes, Dan was there, John, and yes, you were very, very generous to treat us to that wonderful lunch we had.
Yeah. I get panic when the bill comes and we all start dividing and it's awkward. I said, you know what? I'm just going to treat.
You got to do what Steve. All right, but you got to do what Steve Perros does. Steve, what's Perros's rule when we go out to dinner?
Well, my rule is, we've had on Saturday night, we've had a Greek dinner at Athens Market Taverna in the Gaslamp District. Over 20 years now, we've been doing it. And it's a minimum a dozen guys, usually about 14 to 16 guys. Guys only, and there's a lot of ordering, a lot of eating, a lot of drinking. And I've made it very clear that except to JC Vaughn, who is the one exception.
That's right.
That the bill comes, the bill is split evenly. We have no time. If you think after having an enjoyable evening and 2 Uzos and Retsina, I'm going to sit there and calculate.
Yeah, I know. I hate that. Oh my God.
I said, so it is the bill comes, 20% tip, total, divided by the number of people, end of discussion. If you are not interested in that kind of evening, you should stay home. Now, it turns out that J.C. Vaughn wasn't coming for a while because J.C. Vaughn wisely doesn't drink the demon liquor, the demon Satan's serum, as they say.
It is not wisely. It is purely practical.
There's only one of us who doesn't have hair, and there's only one of us who doesn't drink. I'm Jordan.
So I told JC, we need you on that wall, and please. And I said, what you're going to do is you're going to give me what's right for your bill, and then I will subtract that from the total and then do the typical. That I'm willing to do because J.C. Vaughn, unlike most of the people who come to this dinner, is a great man.
Yes.
And I will do that for a great man.
I will vouch that I'm not a great man, so I just pay the 20.
Sure you are. So you're a union man.
Yes.
You know, I got to ask you something if you don't mind. I don't know what union do you belong to?
Local 3. I'm an electrician.
Local 3 electrician on Long Island, New York. How do you and your fellow union guys feel about the head of the Teamsters speaking at the RNC this past
You draw me into politics, Billy. It's a good thing nobody watches. It's a good thing nobody watches this channel, so I will answer your question. I had a friendly conversation with my steward, and he was just like, "Why are you voting for Trump?" And I gave him every explanation possible, and then he got, he goes, "But look, again, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I gave my answers."
He didn't ask me who you're voting for. I was just wondering as a union person.
Okay, so I've already given too much. I'm blaming the beer and painkillers. You're gonna hear a lot of
let's
stuff.
get into some more stuff, Steve. Let's find some crazy questions.
Ask me my mother's maiden name and social security number. Right now is your only chance. But
what was your first childhood pet's name?
Billy Tucci was really weird dog. But he was, and I asked him a question. Well, first off, he wasn't too happy, and I said, "Let me ask you a better question there. Why? Because there was a nationwide poll. 55% of all union workers are going for Trump. So I said, does this mean that 55%, the majority of union workers, are idiots, not right-wing Nazis, or does that mean that there's a problem that is not being addressed?" I said, "I don't know about you, but if I owned a business and 55% of my employees didn't like my business direction or preferred this, maybe it would be time to sit down and discuss like normal, rational human beings and course correct. But instead, we're demonized, we're yelled at, whatever." So, I don't know.
And we're also losing audience according to the comments.
Yeah, that's Chris.
Let's not talk politics. Keep Billy's, but Billy brought it on himself. So so.
All right, so we're gonna get to our projects and all. But
sure.
Sorry,
guys.
That's all right.
I bought Steve Perros. I bought it. Wondering how you'd feel about it. What do you think of my new Peter Bogdanovich glasses?
I'll tell you what they are not. They are, well, first off, they are cool glasses, but they are not Peter Bogdanovich glasses.
You might say they're Bogdanovich-esque, but they are not.
No. Oddly enough, his glasses are almost always a little bit more. They're much wider. They're not. He never wore narrow glasses. I think you're thinking of the tint because they're slightly tinted.
Yes.
You're a little. I would say you're a little Bob Evans, which is always cool with Billy Tucci.
Unless you mean the sausage guy.
No, that's Abe Froman.
No, that's the sausage king of Chicago.
Well, I got them on Amazon for like $10.
Wait, so they're just they're phony glasses. They're polar glasses.
They're like 150 power.
Okay.
They're on Amazon. So Debbie's like, "I want those." I'm like, "You're not having them." She goes, "Order me a pair." I said, "No."
Wow.
But they're like, look at that.
Seems like cutting off your nose to spite your face.
And now I got this red framed.
Hey, listen, they're up there. It's interesting. I think they look good on you, Pally.
Thank you. Do I get a free bowl of soup with these glasses? You're also thinking right now, aren't you?
No.
Anyway, so guys, we were here for San Diego Comic-Con is next week. We have it's. I'd have to say, and I know Jeff, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. I think San Diego is like the mecca of the comics industry. Wouldn't you say that every year, so many of us have to make our annual pilgrimage there to revel in the tomfoolery and ballyhoo and work our butts off, and then end up Saturday night, drunk at a Greek tavern?
I think that the San Diego is a really important show in the year, and I of course think about its history and how it developed. And the more I think about it, and the more I live in New York, I know why the creators wanted to get out of New York in July and August. San Diego seemed pretty darn attractive.
Yeah, because this to happen.
Jim Shooter at Marvel was the first one to commit a company to going. to it when he was there.
Interesting.
And so they obviously had brought a lot of guests. They already had a great track record by that point, and I don't mean to take anything away from it, but the industry, rather than just the creators embracing it, and the retailers, of course, I think really comes from that period.
Ah, interesting. Because I remember, I went my first Comic-Con, and I want to get into Steve's because Steve and I reconnected in Comic-Con of '94 that we were both at.
We were about 12. We were 12.
Yes, we were 12 years old. Yeah, I was at. We were at. No, actually, we were 12. We were like 20. We were
42.
And but I had gone in. So here's my Comic-Con story, and I want to hear your Comic-Con stories, John. I'm not. I don't know if you've ever been to Comic-Con.
Never been to San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, we want to hear about you and the tree.
Okay.
The argument you had with a tree, and it looks like you lost.
Yeah,
But
the tree.
we'll visit that.
Beard and everything.
But I want to thank everyone out there, and if I can share my screen, I'm going to just show, and of course we'll share everyone's things. But I want to share my screen with y'all. How'd that sound? What do you think of that, Jeff? I just said y'all.
Oh wow.
You don't care, do you? Anyway, this is our store at www.billytucci.com. This is our San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. It's our 30th anniversary. So 31 years ago, I went to San Diego in the summer of 93, and I went with dreams of becoming a penciler for Marvel or DC Comics or anybody. And I waited on lines, and if those of you remember comics in the early 90s, it was insane. San Diego Comic-Con was massive, but it was only 30,000 people. Today,
No, you could walk up to the door. I mean, you could walk up to the door and get a ticket. I remember that.
94 was also my first year, and it was 33,000 people was the attendance.
33,000. Okay, so in '93, I think there was 30,000 people. I read it somewhere when I was doing research for the 30th anniversary books. But it was like seeing the Roman Colosseum for the first time, like when Maximus sees Rome and then sees the Colosseum when he returns as in Gladiator. I went and I hit every publisher to try to show my wares. And now take it, I was there for the 3 or 4 days. I had no money. I had all my savings I had expended on this trip. And basically the lines to get work back then, I mean, you're talking maybe 50, 60 people deep trying to get work for the editors. And these editors would just chew you up and all. And I got rejected by every single one. I did get someone from DC. One of the editors liked my work, but wanted me to know if I could draw like Jim Lee and change my style for Jim Lee because he had an annual for me.
I love you, but could you change?
Yeah, and I was like, well, first of all, I'm no Jim Lee, and second of all, I don't want to be Jim Lee. So I was pretty getting from all the rejections you get a bit down, if you will, but I'm a tough cookie, so I'm gonna keep going. So I ended up making my way to small press after being rejected by Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Harris Comics, who did Vampirella at the time, Image, etc. And I saw this one guy sitting. I visited a bunch of tables in small press, and for some reason I went to this one guy, and he was sitting there at a 6-foot table, and he had like a mullet. And he was very excitable, and he was around my age, and he was from New Jersey, and I showed him my portfolio, and he really liked it and treated me as an equal, as a peer. And he had just he had his book Evil Ernie published through Malibu Comics, and in 1994 he was launching his own line of comics, Chaos Comics, and that of course was Brian Pulido. Brian actually offered me a pinup in an upcoming book, which ended up being my pinup in the Lady Death swimsuit issue of the summer of '94, I guess it was. And but he really struck me. So when I was on the plane ride home, I was literally crestfallen. I was just so upset that everyone had rejected me. The only people that wanted me were someone that wanted me to draw like someone else, what I couldn't do. And I wouldn't compromise my principles to try to do so, except for that one young man. And he was doing his own comics. And I just kept thinking of him and being appreciative that he actually offered me a pinup. And I'm like, the hell with this. I'm going to do my own comic too. And I had no idea how comic shops got their comics. I had no idea how to produce a comic. I had no idea about comic book pay. I didn't even know they had comic art boards back then. I was buying Bristol board and cutting up 18 by 24 inch Bristol board in 11 by 17 sheets because I had read somewhere that comic artists draw on
11 by 17.
What is it? No, yeah, but they draw 10 by 15 or something like that. That's how they drew. And I'm going to make a color comic. I had no idea how comics were colored. I had no idea about color separations. I had no idea about color codes, any of this. But son of a bitch, that was August of 1994. I came home and I remember telling Deb that, and she's like, how'd it go? I'm like, shitty. I said, but you know what? We're going to make our own comic. So we went to the library. I started going to comic shops. She would come with me once in a while. And about 2 weeks later, she said, you can do this. And that was August of 93, March of 1994. She, the Way the Warrior #1 came out. And
if I do say so myself, and I do, there is an excellent comprehensive interview about this in the back of the She #1 original art edition.
Yes.
Because many of us who hang out on this channel have heard you tell parts of the story.
Yes.
But it's the first good chronological tale of this. And I meet you during that time. Steve was at that same show where you guys reconnected. That was my first show. I met you there. Had you sign you and maybe Peter signed my poster.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about it to me is what you guys were doing, and Brian, you guys were carving your own path. And to me, that was fundamentally more interesting. And I'm like Brian too. I'm a huge Captain America fan. I mean, that's my favorite character. It's the way you can tell that I don't put my favorite character on the cover of the price guide every year. It's because my default character appears to be Batman. But if you look at it and you say, these guys were doing their own thing, and of course at the time it exploded.
It did.
In crazy ways. But now here we are 30 years later, and you're doing commemorative stuff. And I sent you a piece of art that if you check your email, you can put up.
Oh, I don't know if I could do it on this PC. I will try.
On the PC.
Yeah, I'm on the PC, and I despise PCs.
I love hearing you bitch about PCs. It's just
God,
really life affirming.
I will look and see the email and see if it came through.
But one of the things about this is you've changed your styles a number of times, but you've never changed how you're telling the story about the character, which I find really, really compelling. And what you and Steve have done in bringing She back now with the Return of the Warrior arc is equally bold, in my opinion, of having a character age, having the concerns be not the concerns of the 20-something who is out there taking vengeance. This is a very different situation.
Mm.
Yeah, I love when Billy came to me with and first she was just consulting with me. Billy and I have known each other since junior high school. He was just asking my opinion because I'm a screenwriter and a storyteller. And we had this, when he said that he was going to not just do what literally everybody else does, pick up where he left off with an ageless superhero. He was going to say, well, maybe years have passed for her. They passed for me. They passed for my readers. I just thought that was such a, not just a mature idea, because mature can sound boring to some people, an invigorating idea, an exciting idea. It meant it literally wasn't going to just be a repeat of what he'd already done, and opened up all sorts of doors for Anna Ishikawa in terms of her sense of, there was so much more at stake now for her in every choice that she made. And so it was great to write on these 3 books of the trilogy. It's exciting about where we go from here.
Yes, and I got to tell you, I'm just thrilled of working with and John. If you, we will get to you, John. I apologize. Everyone wants to know what the hell happened to you, but and your projects and all. We'll share your campaigns, but. Steve and I had called Steve because I've admired Steve. He's been a great friend of mine, a great ally, a great influence, if you will. Steve is brilliant. And I remember we were smoking cigars. We were, having a drink. And I just ran my ideas by Steve. And we probably spoke for 45 minutes. Right. And Steve just kept asking me questions when I was, and some of them I couldn't answer. Most of them I couldn't answer. After we got off the phone, I thought for a minute, and I called Steve and I said, would you like to write this with me? And he graciously accepted, of course. So, and then after that, now Steve wrote, literally wrote the Return of the Warrior trilogy. And I'll always be in debt of him for that, and I can't wait for what we're going to produce in 2024, and moving forward as Anna now returns to Japan. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. In the meantime, I could share something that Jeff, I was able to find this, and I know we're jumping around, and forgive me, but it's been a long, crazy day. But Jeff sent me something very, very nice. And Jeffrey, thank you. So if we can digress back to where we were, but what an honor. 30 years that Jeff Vaughn graciously approached Brian Polito and myself and asked us, as if we'd say no, if Lady Death and she could grace the cover to the Bible of comic book collecting, the Overstreet Price Guide to Collecting Comics. This is the 54th edition since 1970. 68. 70?
1970.
Oh, yeah, 1970. You're right. Look at that.
I didn't realize the Overstreet was that long. Great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, number one came out in 1970. 1971 was the blue cover reprint, which has some pricing updates to it, and then annual from every year after that.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. And
my job is I run a book that I grew up reading.
Yeah.
That's got to be fun.
Amongst other things, I mean, you've got a lot of great line of books now, how Overstreet's expanding. You have the Overstreet Guide to Lost Universe, right? Or is it
the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide to Lost Universes? The number 2 is out now.
Now, what is that? What is that Guide to Lost Universes?
Lost Universes is a photo journal as well as a price guide. Everything that's pictured, everything that's listed in there is also pictured. So it's a visual checklist on finite comic book universes, things that have come and gone, and in some cases come again, like the Archie MLJ characters. There's been 8 incarnations over 8 decades, but they, some of them, like from the golden age, are super pricey. Others are very accessible. And we've done that. There's been creator-owned universes of company-owned stuff that's come and gone. Some stuff that was really cool while it was around, like CrossGen, and so on. And so we just dialed down, did Thunder Agents, and things that were sub-universes of non-universes, like Tim Truman's Scout was published by Eclipse, which was definitely a non-universe, but Scout was a universe.
Yeah. Put a link to this. This sounds right up my alley. This sounds awesome.
It's a fantastic. The volume 1 was fantastic, and it's interesting.
You haven't seen volume 2 yet, Billy. I'll make sure you see a copy. It's San Diego.
Will there be an actual physical copy?
Number 2's out.
Oh, it's out.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
it came out about a month and a half ago.
Oh, I apologize then. Well, I might steal one then. from the Diamond, because I'm doing a Diamond Comics signing there.
I don't think my books are going to be there. I think they're going to be down at our sister company, Hakes Auctions, because the Diamond booth, they're not going to have a lot of extra room this year. They've got place set up for signings, though.
Yes, and I will be signing.
What I will do is I will drop a link to Lost Universes in the chat.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And there's 2 volumes.
Like
there's a bunch of different covers to choose from, and it's a fun book. And obviously, let's talk about the price guide, the bread and butter, for just a minute. The Lost Universe is a labor of love for me. I put an immense amount of time in the first volume, and was super happy with how it turned out. I equally love the second one, and it's different, but they're all the same in the standard of everything in it is pictured. So it's a great visual checklist, and will be that long after the prices have faded. But a lot of people know that the first cover I ever commissioned in my career was Overstreet's Fan #3. It was a variant cover that we created for San Diego, and it featured She. And that was, and I got to know Billy, but that was the first time we worked together. And we've done a bunch of stuff since then. We did issues, the She fan editions. They were in the poly bag with Overstreet's Fan. My first big comic that I ever got to write was She, a Kind #1. I've written a bunch of stuff with him. I've edited him and Steve, who need very, very little editing. That's the kind of book I love to edit, which is I don't want to do anything here. And
well, it's all Steve, but then Steve will like say a book like She Sakura was a 48-page book, and Steve delivers a 62-page script.
Well,
and I'm like,
I remember when Stoker and Wells was going to be 48 pages.
No, what Billy is surreptitiously discussing is that I'm apparently the only writer who doesn't want to add pages. You know, we had a certain number of pages, and I deliver, how many pages a certain sequence is going to be. But it's like, let's turn that 3-page sequence to 5 pages. I said, you really want to make it longer? He goes, you're the only writer who doesn't want to write more.
I don't know.
Right. It was always to give because Billy has got an obviously incredible instinct. He is that I don't know what percentage of comic book creators are both artists and writers, and Billy excels at both, and he understands. He's a filmmaker as well, and so he understands the panel, which in film is the frame, and he knows what's going to how much you need to get it across, not just gratuitously to just keep drawing and drawing and drawing, but to really get the story across. And I may say that some panel is going to be one panel of 4 on a page, or one panel of 6 on a page, and Billy knows how powerful that image is going to be, and that's going to be a splash. And so I was never in a situation where I was trying to add pages. It was always
I know. No, he was. Well, here's the thing: is that my wife. So talking going forward. So we've planned our books into 2026, and our next book is She Gatecrasher, and which will be followed by the next She chapter. I got to talk to Steve about titles. I have my titles in mind. So we'll talk about that next week, Steve.
Yeah, I gotta say, Billy, the one that you ran by me, She, the Tie-Dye Fanatic, was really not that great.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that was all Steve's idea.
Well,
I doubt that.
Oh, that was so weak. Come on. No, so so Deb asked me, and going through this, and we're looking at the next book is She Gatecrasher by J.C. Vaughn. Steve, we're going to ask you this week. Well, I'll ask you now if you would agree to be the editor of this.
I'm hearing this is like deja vu all over again. I mean, I'll believe this when I see it. When I hear
I'm
it,
way behind. I know this book was supposed to launch in March. It's all my fault. Yeah. I'm way behind. My wife hates me for it. She's actually out with her girlfriends tonight, she says, having dinner. Yeah, we know how that goes. But she had asked me, so I'm laying it out, and Debbie goes to me, she goes, well, all these books, are going to be 48 pages, right? And I guffawed at her.
Is she anticipating that you're going to make them longer or shorter?
No. She said these are all going to be 48 pages, and I didn't just laugh. I guffawed.
Mm. But I want to be clear. You're guffawing because they're going to be longer.
Way they're going to be 48 pages. No.
Right.
Now, she does the money. She does the she does the business. She knows all the prices of how much printing is, especially now. Printing is out of control. And but I'm a cartoonist, and I'm working with these great minds, and great minds think alike. And J.C. Vaughn said, "There's no way this story can be 48 pages. It's got to be 176 pages."
I don't think I have ever said that.
No, he hasn't. It's all me. Because I want to draw big. I want to have fun. I want to pace a story. I want to give our readers and our backers
and all those Bozo the Robot purists out there.
That's right. Yes, and it hasn't Bozo the Robot returns in the pages of She Gatecrasher. But anywho, it's great to work with you guys and how you actually well. I'm an eccentric now, right? I'm not crazy anymore.
You are eccentric, and that's how far you got away from our theme of talking about the covers here for just one more moment.
Right. So let's go. Yes.
Okay. The reason that you are on the cover of this, the reason that Brian's Lady Death is on the cover, the reasons they join up to form one bigger image. Well, that's because I'm trying to sell books. But the real thing about this is the fire that it takes to have an independent comic book character for 3 decades is deserving of recognition, which is why I don't feel at any qualms about switching hats from my Billy Tucci She hat to my Overstreet hat and saying, yeah, these characters deserve to be on the cover. You know, and if you look at the history of the price guide, you know that's a significant thing.
Well, thank you. We are honored. I was on a show with Brian Polito last night, and we just cannot believe. And thanks to you guys out there watching us, thanks to everybody out there on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, that you guys have literally changed our lives. We have humble lives, of course, but we're able to make a living creating. And what a gift that is. I mean, right, Stephen, as someone like you who's worked with, now I know you're also a professor, but what a gift, right? We have in life that we could work. John, to you, John, you're a real contributing member of society, unlike the rest of us. But you have your dream and you create your own books as well, which is almost like a luxury for you, I would say, right?
It's something I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to grow up and write the Fantastic Four, but let's face it, Marvel ain't hiring a guy like me. So,
right,
I took inspiration from guys like you guys, and said, all right, if it's when am I going to be able to make comics? Well, I can't rely on anybody else. I got to do it myself.
Right. And now, Stephen, with your incredible career as a screenwriter, as a producer, as a director, but now you're firmly ingrained and entrenched in the graphic novel business.
Yeah, no, this is I've done 5 books. I'm on my way. I've just gotten commissioned to do a 6th book. Nothing to do with Stoker and Wells or She. Someone came to me based on the strength of that work. So I am not only writing it, but I'm essentially producing it. It's I've always said, as a filmmaker, writing, the first people have asked me, you've written stage plays, and hey now,
is that a pencil sharpener?
I've written stage plays, TV pilots, and what is the difference writing a comic book or graphic novel? And so you get to being the writer. You're essentially like the writer director of your own little $50 million, $70 million movie. And because as a writer, you're not just you are the director as well. You are describing the image and the frame, what's in the image, the angle you're looking at it, and your artist becomes your cinematographer, your casting director, your production designer. So it's incredibly gratifying, especially because you cut out the middleman when you do things through crowdfunding. The buck stops with you. And so you can write whatever story you want. There's a lot of responsibility. So therefore, people like it, it's on you. People don't like it, it's on you. You can't sit there and say, Marvel gave me these notes or DC gave me these notes. I hated those notes they gave me. No one's giving us notes. We're doing it entirely ourselves, and therefore we own it. We own the.
Guys, I'm gonna have to bail. My blood sugar's going low. I need to eat something.
Oh no!
I'm still adjusting
from
East Coast time today.
Old Bean, give me a call tomorrow.
I will do so. And Steve, I'll give you a yell before we see each other in San Diego.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
All right. John?
I'll tell you how dangerous it is to have low blood sugar. A little foreshadowing.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So, Steve, though, what's really cool that for you guys out there watching is that Steven has had great crowdfunding success when he jumped into comics. And JC was actually Steve's editor on Stoker and Wells. And Aaron LaPresse. Remember Aaron, our friend that we had dinner with at the Lion?
Of course. Why isn't he sitting here?
I invited him. I don't know. He's got San Diego Comic-Con coming up this week. He should come and promote his stuff. We'll see. I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, so Steven, here's something that's really cool with Steven is that, again, Steve is a very successful creator in Hollywood, in the film industry. But he's also an extremely successful creator in crowdfunding with his two books, Stoker and Wells, Order of the Golden Dawn, and Stoker and Wells, The Ashes of Revenge. Steve, tell us what's been happening now on the cinematic front with Stoker and Wells, because obviously something's happening. If you can, but
well, there's it's interesting. Everybody here, a lot of people listening, are not only fans, but they're creators themselves, and they're here to listen to you and to us about things that to inspire them. And the thing that I think is so important for everybody to know is to keep your options open. Your every idea you have, you're a storyteller. Don't close doors to how really what's important is you want to get that story to an audience. And yes, you're planning on it as a comic book, you're planning on it as a movie, you're planning on it as a TV series, whatever you're planning it on, sure. But follow the green lights. Now, Stoker and Wells, I wrote as a feature screenplay. I had never written anything like that before. I wanted to do a big sort of summer tentpole film, but for the audience that like to see the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies.
Yeah, can you let people know for the uninitiative, what is Stoker and Wells?
Stoker and Wells involves a 20-something screw-up named H.G. Wells who meets a grumpy 40-something theater manager named Bram Stoker, and how the two men go on a shared adventure in 1893 that winds up being the creative inspiration for both writers' first great work, The Time Machine for Wells and Dracula for Bram Stoker. So it was a screenplay. It got me work, but no one pulled the trigger to make the film. So my manager at the time said, why don't you turn it into some other form of intellectual property? And maybe that might do something. And I thought, and I'd done that before with a screenplay. I turned it into a stage play, and that actually helped get the movie made. And in this case, I said, well, a stage play wouldn't really make sense, but what about a graphic novel? And so I turned Stoker and Wells into a graphic novel with Billy's counsel, JC's counsel. And now it's being developed not as a feature film, but as a series for the streamers. I'm developing it to take to the streamers with Amasia Entertainment, which is the new company founded by Michael Helfand, the former president of Marvel Studios. At the same time, we're debuting at Comic-Con, we're playtesting at Comic-Con, the Stoker and Wells Authors of Fate TTRPG, tabletop role-playing game with Three people came to me. Four people came in a team of four, including Emmy winners and people who've really got their stuff together. And they said, we really want to develop this. We see there's a role-playing game in this, particularly based in the Golden Dawn. There it is. This organization that is sort of a real-life organization, a mystical organization that existed in Victorian England. And they developed this amazing role-playing game. I myself, even though I came up at the time when the Dungeons and Dragons, etc., were part of the zeitgeist, I never sort of got into it, but it's been fascinating watching people carry the ball of this story that was supposed to be a feature screenplay. That's what I want to make. I want to make a movie. And now it's become a graphic novel. It's being developed as a TV series, and now it's a tabletop role-playing game. Still room for it to maybe be in a movie someday, but it's just being told to an audience, and that's, I think, the key to the whole thing is just keep your options open. So stories are being told in so many different ways. One leads to another, so that's been part of the fun of this journey, this ongoing journey of Stoker and Wells. And now we have book 2, which is just gotten all of the inks and colors complete. We're proofreading. We're going to be going to the printer very shortly to get that out into the hands of our backers on Indiegogo and Kickstarter.
It's amazing, Steve, that you coming in, and you were not dissimilar from me, that you had no idea how to make a graphic novel. We had talked. I tried to help you, but Debbie's really the one you should talk to. But you had JC come in as your editor and all, and now you're on the verge of publishing and releasing your second crowdfunded comic of Stoker and Wells with the Ashes of Revenge, which is the sequel to Order of the Golden Dawn.
Yep.
With our mutual friend Barry Orkin, who I met both of you, I believe, the first day of school of 7th grade. Now, forgive me, John, and everyone out there, but I'm going to wax nostalgic. And I just, to this day, I adore you both. I've admired you both. Question I want to know, let's have a little fun. San Diego Con 1994. When I saw you again, you look like a member of the Manson family. Look at Steve's luxurious Greek hair. But he would look like a hippie. Did you have a beard in 94? I think you might.
Oh yeah. I would have had a goatee. I think I might have had a goatee. Or I may have had a full beard in 94. I'm not sure. I never kept a big beard.
No, you had a goatee. You had the goatee and the long hair.
Long hair. That got cut in 2000.
Yes, but for when you went on the set of your film that you wrote.
Film was set in 1924, and they needed me to be the limo driver for Joanna Lumley.
I wonder, Steve, can you pull that clip and can we show that? Can you find it? It's got to be on YouTube.
The clip? I don't know if the clip's
It's got to be on YouTube. It's got it. So Steve's in the brilliant film, the Bogdanovich film, The Cat's Meow, which started off as Steven's original play, Everybody Charleston, right? Everybody Charleston was.
Well, yes, it was, but no, it never reached an audience as Everybody Charleston. It was a screenplay. I went in and out of options for years, called Everybody Charleston, and then I turned it into a stage play called The Cat's Meow, and that's the title that stuck. And Kirsten Dunst stars in it as a silent screen star, Marion Davies. It was about a murder on William Randolph Hearst's yacht in 1924. Charlie Chaplin was a character. All these people who were on board this yacht, mystery that endures to this day. So you gentlemen talk amongst yourselves, and I'll see what I can find. If I can find it, I'll find it, Billy Holder.
All right. And Steve, it's so funny because Steve, I never knew you become a lord of historical fiction.
I know.
You never struck me. We never had conversations of things like that. But it's a question I want to ask you is that San Diego Comic-Con 1994, 30 years ago, next week or the week after, it was Debbie, me, Peter Gutierrez, and Barry Orkin, our mutual friend. Barry designed my logos. Barry colored Way of the Warrior #1, colored She the Way of the Warrior #2, did a lot of pinups for us. And Barry was at the Comic-Con as well. So I remember seeing Steve. Debbie and I went to a restaurant. It was Cabo, a Mexican restaurant, and there was Steve with Barry. I'm maybe Mike Peros, your brother, author extraordinaire as well, was there too, and our friend Chris Caliendo, Chris, who did the official She scores. Chris is a phenomenal award-winning composer, and Steve and Chris end up doing the official She comic book score. But I went up to them to say hello or stuff like that, and you guys blew me off.
No, I didn't blow you
I
off.
offended them or something. They had no. They wanted. No, it was all Caliendo's fault. Caliendo didn't like me, right?
Yeah, it was a little. What is it? Oil and fire, whatever that expression is.
Oil and water, but we love each other to this
Yes.
day. But did you hang out with Barry much at Comic-Con that year? Do you remember?
I'm sure I did. Yes. Yeah. If Barry came all the way to from New York to the West Coast, I definitely was hanging out with him.
But you don't remember, because I remember you guys blowing me off at Cabo Cabo.
Well, no. I think what happened was you came in and you were like you're like one of those characters in a movie set in like Hollywood in the 70s. You were glad handing everybody. Yeah, you knew everybody, someone at every little Cabo table, and then we had your 30 seconds.
My 30 seconds.
I said hanging out with Billy's like hanging out with Frank Sinatra.
That's right. Exactly.
But the way it was that it was
we lost
like,
Billy. I don't know if he's blowing us off.
God.
Yeah.
But I was not Sinatra. I was Don Rickles. So I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to go say hello to Steve Perros. What Rickles did to Sinatra that time.
That's right.
That's one of my favorite stories.
And Steve spent one of his birthdays with Don Rickles, didn't you? Right?
I did. Wow.
Right, so
yeah.
Let's get to that. But so I'm thinking I'm Don Rickles. The famous story of Don Rickles is that he approaches Frank. They were at a restaurant or they were going someplace, and Frank said, "Listen, my mother's in town."
No, Rickles says it.
Rickles says to Sinatra, "I got this girl, and my mom's here. I want to really impress her. Can you please come by and say hello? That would mean the world to them. That would make my day." And Frank said, "Of course." So, Steve, you want to tell what happened?
Yeah, well, yeah. So he says, "Yeah, I'll finish eating, and then I'll make sure I'll stop by the table." He goes, "Oh, thank you, Frank. I really, really appreciate it." So Sinatra finishes up. He goes over to Rickles' tables. He's trying to make time with this woman who didn't believe that he knew Sinatra. So Sinatra comes over to the table, says, "Excuse me, Don. It's so nice to see you." And Rickles goes, "What's the matter, Frank? Can't you see I'm eating?"
Yeah. He said, like, what the hell's the matter with you? I'm trying to.
I love that story.
So now Steve went on whatever birthday it was. Well, if you're 44, so maybe your 30th birthday, Steve went to Vegas to celebrate his 30th birthday, and you hung out with Don Rickles, right?
Yeah, I was at the time. I was in conversations with a guy named Tonio Petasanto, who had been Sinatra's road manager
and never killed a person.
And we were thinking about maybe doing a fictitious screenplay based on his experiences of just being on the road with Sinatra at that age, and Sinatra had passed by this point, and Tonio was now Rickles' stage manager. And Tony would have all these great expressions, because so he goes, "Yeah, you want to come out and see Rickles? I'll make sure you come out and see Rickles. I'll book you at the hotel, whatever." And he would always say, when we were trying to figure out when we were going to meet, when we were going to do this, when we were going to that, he had this expression. He goes, "Okay, I'm going to be, I'll be on property from 3 o'clock to 3:45. I'm going to be off property from 45 to 6:10. I mean, property, on property, off property. That's what they mean when they mean if they're going to be on the site of the hotel, but they don't say hotel. They say on property, off property." So he gets me this great ringside table right next to to Larry King, and to see Rickles. And he was still on his game at this point. Physically, he was able to move around a lot. And then afterwards, I got to go backstage and hang out with Rickles in his dressing room. And as people have all said, that the guy on stage is not the guy off stage. The guy off stage is is a pussycat. He was sweet. He was nice. He was invested in wanting to talk to you. He didn't just keep the act going and riff or insult or keep the jokes going. It was just a great time. I literally was in awe. I couldn't believe it.
Think about it, dude. He hung out with Don Rickles. His birthday, and Don Rickles looked exactly the same he did.
Yeah.
In probably 1965 when he did that thing with Sinatra or something like.
Yeah. No, I mean Rickles never changed. You look at him in Run Silent, Run Deep in 1958. He looks the same. I mean,
like the thing since the day he was born.
That's right.
So in 1994, that same night, that I went up to Steve and Caliendo and Michael Peros. And Barry
was with us.
Yeah, because I didn't get the invite, so Debbie and I showed up at the. We just happened to be there because it was right across.
Hey, don't throw Debbie into this. I don't think Debbie was there. This was midday or something, wasn't it?
No, it was not. It was after.
Oh, happy hour. It was like at the end of. Yes, it was afterwards. Yeah,
it was like 8:00 at night.
Yeah.
I get it. So then we go and we end up. So now I meet John Romita Jr. And we just hit it off like peas and carrots. So, all right, I got a special guest coming in right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the great, the king of Indiegogo, crowdfunding extraordinaire, Mr. Aaron Lopresti.
Hey.
Hello, Lopez.
Hello, gentlemen. John,
hello.
Neck.
How you doing?
Good to
How
see
you doing, sir?
Do you guys remember each other? Remember?
Yeah, of course.
Great dinner.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have another one great beer dinner that night. So
what?
I only had one beer that night, Billy.
Yes.
I remember the entire evening.
One beer. Yes, Shelly. Yes, Shelly.
No,
Aaron only had one beer that night.
That's all I had.
But this year we're going to do Friday night. We're going to go to dinner, but the lion's share could only get us in like 9:45, and I was way too late for Deborah. So we're doing. Supposedly, he's got a great tequila menu, so maybe Lopez will start drinking tequila. We're going to do Mexican. Oh, come on, Aaron! For goodness sakes, Friday night.
I'll have a lightweight Corona.
Steve,
Listen, I don't force a man to do anything a man doesn't want to force himself to do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Aaron, how are you?
Especially when they have a convention they have to deal with the next day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm busy, Billy. I'm incredibly busy. Trying to get ready for San Diego.
Yeah. You're a little stressed out?
Steve leave.
Yeah, Steve, yeah.
I'll be right back, gentlemen. Okay. Let Aaron take the floor, and I'll be right back, sir.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. What was the question? Oh, I am. Oh, you want to see something cool? Look what I just got. What I just got and just approved.
Oh, wow.
There it is, folks. You want to see that? That's not trimmed, obviously, but this is the proof for the movie poster. So there it is.
Holy shit. That's your one sheet right there, Lopez.
Yeah. Well, it's
Fantastic.
an insert. It's 14 by 36, but yeah.
Now, how can people obtain said Planet Doom one sheet oversized poster?
You know, Billy, there's only one way. And that's if you back the Kit Carter Planet Doom campaign, which is still open. So I will have this at San Diego, just kind of previewing it, hanging up, but I will be directing people to using this to direct people to the campaign.
Exceptional. What a beautiful painting. Aaron, would you mind showing everyone the original painting that you did? And you painted that in acrylic, right? It's not gouache?
I did, yeah.
Wow. Now, I love gouache. Why? It's on canvas too.
Yeah. Because I wanted that sort of, I don't know if you can really see it there, but I wanted that sort of canvas. So you can't really see it, but you can on the poster. The texture from the canvas. It comes
through. How Frazetta of you.
Yes.
Wow. She's beautiful. I mean, what a stunning illustration. Now, what are your plans with that original art canvas, that oversized, gigantic museum?
Well, I've got two options, Billy.
Yeah.
One, I'm going to keep it. Two, I'm going to sell it. We haven't decided which. but it may hang up. I did a new. Somebody will remember that this was the cover to the very first issue of Wraith of God, and I made it into a limited print that'll be available at San Diego as well.
Beautiful.
Sign it right down here. I'll have
Aaron,
some.
So Aaron, you had a phenomenal Comic-Con last year.
Yes.
I went to your booth and it took me, I was standing there for 10 minutes because I didn't want to interrupt you. Again, remember, I mean, you had your booth, your display looked fantastic. It was very neat. You had a bunch of people you were talking to, your fans, if you will.
Socializing.
What's in store for Comic-Con this year? What do you got? I mean, you have a lot more product now. You have even more Aaron Lopresti this year.
I'm very disappointed that Kit Carter isn't done and back from the printers, because I was hoping to bring those, but I can't. So, because it's it's not finished yet, and so David Williams said, "Hey, why don't you do an ash can, a Kit Carter ash can? You can have that at San Diego." And I said, "No, that's a good idea." So there it is, the Kit Carter.
Oh, it's a real ash can. Hang on, let me go.
Yeah, this is like old fashioned. When Image used to put out those ash cans.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Comic-Con International 2024 exclusive. So this will only be sold at San Diego, but I have made it available through a secret perk on the campaign page for Kit Carter for backers to get this for only $5.
Are you, dude? First of all, okay. So I know how much things cost to print, and I'm sure that's an extremely low print run. Well, it's already up there for $5, so everyone get that's 1994 prices.
That's right. And so I've got that, and I've got, like I said, I'll be promoting the Kit Carter campaign as well. I'll have all my Wraith of God books, 1 and 2, will be available for sale. Garbage Man, trade paperbacks will be for sale. I'll have a ton of original artwork, as I always do, a variety of prints, a few Kit Carter prints that'll be for sale. Fun things like that. So,
but the lucky people, the few that were able to get Comic-Con tickets, will they be able to purchase the Kit Carter ash can at Comic-Con?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
So it's a collectible, but it's also a promotional item, Billy, combining both of them.
100%.
You open up that first page and it says, visit AaronLopresti.com to order a Kit Carter Planet Doom graphic novel and other related items.
See that? So you've become a businessman. Look at you. Look at you.
Trying.
Look at you. So how is Shelly doing? We saw that Shelly posted that she was doing the if I may, if I'm getting too personal, whatever, but she posted on Twitter about that she has the Botox injections for the pain and all. Is it working? We all love Shelly. She's always in our prayers.
Thank you.
How is she doing?
She's doing as good as can be expected, considering how many things she's dealing with. We did go in for Botox today, so she got shots all around the back of her neck and stuff like that, and up around her hairline, and that really helps with migraines. She had shoulder surgery about a month ago. Maybe there's more than that now. That's still bothering her a little bit, but she at least has range of motion, but she still has pain in there that she's rehabbing through. And she's got some lower back problems. And so she's going in for she'll get a cortisone shot back there pretty soon to keep that baby in check. And then she has her breast cancer reconstructive surgery. They couldn't get her until October, but she'll be in October to get that taken care of. So
Shelly is right. Holy moly.
Yeah, she's got a lot going on.
Oh, yeah, she's a warrior. And hang on a second. I had to jump off really only an hour. Steve Peros had to jump off. He's got something going on. For those of you who don't know that, Aaron's beloved wife, Shelly, who we all adore.
Yeah.
She has to be one of the toughest women I've never had the pleasure of meeting in person. She is a former NCAA Division I, I believe, volleyball.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no, she's no joke. She is she's, one of the most beautiful souls you'll ever meet in your life. And she is
believe it or not, I chat with her quite often, just talking to her about her illness and how she's standing up with it. I've invited her on my channel, but she says she's not ready to talk to people.
Oh, the funny thing we found out was she went to SummerCon with me up in Washington, because I figured it's 4-hour drive. So we went up there, and it just being up that much just wiped her out, and it took like a week to recover from it. So we're hoping that that she's able to. I mean, she's a chronic pain sufferer anyway, so she's completely been dealing with that stuff forever. But once you get the shoulder working again, and then get the reconstructive surgery finally done, we're hoping that she's going to get back on her feet and be more of a semblance of what she's used to being. But she hasn't been able to come on my stream because it's really difficult. It's hard on her shoulder. It's hard on her back to set up that long and be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that we can get some of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, a few months from now, she'll be back again.
Yeah.
And it's just awful that our wives have to endure these things, because my wife too is a breast cancer survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that we went, like, it's amazing. What you go through. Just real quick, guys. Stephen Perros had to jump off. Gents, good to see you, Stephen. We'll see you next week.
I got to jump off too. I have a live stream at 9.
Oh, that's right, John. Thank you so much, pal.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, John.
I backed Chi, and I also backed Kit Carter, and I also backed Wraith of God, because these are some of the best comic books I've read in a long time. I just, I was floored by Wraith of God. I loved it to death. But I got to go. I'm going to be live on my channel now. We're going to talk about Star Trek versus Star Wars.
Oh,
I should be on there.
Can we get the invite to join
It's
that?
an open invite. The link is in the description.
Can you email us or message us? Because I want to be in on that. So
you know what? I'll do you one better. I'm going to invite the guest. I'm going to put it in the private chat, and you can put it in the public, because everybody's invited.
Send it to me on Facebook.
There it is. It's in the private chat. You could put it in the public chat. And
right,
Mark,
pal, thank you.
You got the link. You can throw it in here too, because you're a moderator. But it's something I do on Friday nights. It's clobbering time. We pick this versus that, and we just nerd out and talk about it.
Thanks, John.
But thanks for having me.
Love you, pal. I'll see you later.
I'll see you. Definitely come in. Bye.
So you're lucky I showed up. You wouldn't have a show right now.
I wouldn't have a show. I'd be all by myself. And what would I do? I couldn't entertain an audience all by myself. But so there was an image that showed up recently, and it was a Star Destroyer facing off against the USS Enterprise, 1701, the original one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just posted, and I replied, no contest. And of course, it blows up, but the no contest was who wins? Who wins? Kirk wins. There's no
Kirk
way.
Always wins.
Always wins. You think a Star Destroyer could take down the USS Enterprise, even 1701? Absolutely not.
He doesn't believe in the no-win scenario, Billy.
Right.
He's never had to face death.
That's right. But think of the moxie, the bravita, the gravitas, the bravado, the insanity of actually entertaining the idea that a Star Destroyer captain could defeat James Tiberius Kirk on a one-on-one cover. Are you kidding me?
This is ridiculous. Why even bring it up? Why even bring it up?
Because now I'm dealing with sci-fi versus sci-fantasy. And I'm not going sci-fantasy against, because sci-fantasy is garbage.
Here's the problem. The problem is they're comparing the ships, but they're not taking into consideration the characters that are driving those ships. And that's where the difference lies.
It does. Can I read a super chat from Miss Stip?
Sure.
I apologize. Miss Stip, hello, the binder. The cards are in. The binders are in. The problem was that we misfitted the inserts for the binder. It's like a 1/4 of an inch off. So we had to reorder the inserts of the binder graphics, if you will, because the binder, they get slipped into the graphics. So they're being redone. We will start shipping them after Comic-Con. So I am so sorry, Miss Stip. But it's just one of those things that no one can foresee, because we get dimensions, we make the dimensions, but We don't take account for there are do I have a binder here? There are actually like rivets in the binders, or knobs, if you will, and you cannot get the paper in because the rivets stop the binder from getting in. So we paid for all this. Now we have to repay for it again. That's the only thing that hasn't shipped yet, except for we just got in the original, the She-Way the Warrior #1 original script editions. They just came in, and the binder stuff. So that's the only thing you're waiting on the last campaign. And I apologize, Miss Stipp, and everyone else who ordered that, but we're spending a lot of money to just redo things over and over again. I don't know if Lopez, if you've done that.
It's Billy. It's always something.
Oh my God! It's
every campaign has at least one thing that, you know, it's a curveball you didn't see coming, and no matter how many times you do it, you think I got all my bases covered, and then something comes up, and you're like, ugh.
Well, we talked to the manufacturer. They give us a size of the inserts because it's a back insert, a spine insert, and the front insert. But they don't take account that you can't insert certain things because there are the rivets or the nodules, whatever they are, that binds the snapper.
Right, you're talking on the spine, right?
Yeah, on the spine.
Yeah.
And that fucks up everything because you can't slip the things in if they're 10 centimeters or 10 millimeters off.
Right.
So we had to make it all over again. But you're going to get, and the thing is, next time I think we're going to order the binders on Amazon and get our local printer to print the stuff up to our specs, because we order them all complete from the binder manufacturer. And the thing is, when you get the binder, it's for trading cards, Aaron. Mm-hmm. And when you get the binders in, because they sent us a sample, like, I could have just ordered these from Amazon. I didn't have to spend all this money on this stuff. But now we're dealing with them directly, so we have to do that because we've already paid them to make these things. So I apologize, everyone. But
well, I'm glad you've had this trouble, because I'm not that I'm glad you've had this trouble, but I'm going to be doing a binder at some point when I get a little bit more of my card collection out there. And I'll be coming to you going, Billy.
Yeah, Debbie will totally help you. Debbie will help you 100%.
All right.
So
I'll say this to the people out there, Billy.
Yes. So Aaron,
hang on a second. Wait. Let me say this real quick. That stuff comes up, campaigns get delayed a little bit, products get delayed a little bit. But I'll tell you right, I can speak for both of us right here. You can count on Billy and you can count on me that you will get your product. So don't stress it out. Sometimes things happen, but you will get your product.
Right, 100%. In the past 4 years, we have delivered 9 Indiegogo campaigns and Kickstarter, and we're 9 and 9/10, I guess, on our part. Yeah. And we've learned, though. I've been a publisher for 30 years. You, Aaron, were thrown into the lion's den when you decided, hey, I'm going to make my own books. Now, I know you've had some create your own things with Garbage Man and things like that, but holy crap, dude, you had a crash course in publishing, right? And you
learn fast.
Yeah, you do.
Learn fast. I mean, thankfully for me, it was something I was always interested in. I just never had the opportunity to do it. So a lot of terminology and dealing with printers and things like that I've done on smaller scale stuff. But handling the project when you've got employees, even though they're just, freelance employees, doing different things for you and trying to get everything coordinated and making sure this person delivers on time. And if this person, you can understand why Marvel and DC have production departments.
Right. Well, here's the thing is that, so we had a conversation with the Politos, our friends, and they literally told us that we have a license to make money. And you'll see that, Aaron. Now, the more create your own product you have, it gets easier, but there's a lot more work involved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you and Shelly, right? Just like it's just me and Debbie. My buddy Mike, the great Renzini. Mike is a postman. He's a mailman. But he's also our and Niall Scala, of course, but Niall has a great job. We're now, it's come to time though that we need someone full-time to work for us, because we're talking to the Politos and they have 10 employees full-time.
Oh my God.
He's running a company, and Francisca Polito told us that if they don't make $70,000 profit for San Diego Comic-Con, it's a disaster. And we're like, so we're at dinner with Robin and Terry Moore, Jeff Smith, Jimmy and Amanda, and they and she's just like, I have 10 employees. I am paying for the, and we're like,
70,000 profit. I don't think I've made 70,000 in 10 years.
Can I make $700 in profit? Debbie, look at it. And we're like, but they are so focused. They're looking at this, that Marvel and DC are their competition, right? Every other comic book publisher, they are a real comic book publisher. Unlike like that, remember Todd's vision when Todd left Marvel and DC, he was done. He was out. Jim and Rob Liefeld were like, well, let's do this and maybe we'll go back to doing Marvel and DC work type of thing. And Todd was like, no, I'm all in. So they're like Todd. And it shows because of they've blown up to be a multi-million-dollar annual company. They are a full-fledged publisher. And even in these trying times, with this horrible economy, they are excelling because they're just all in as publishers. And I think, Aaron, a little bit of us have to kind of start thinking about that. And
well, I mean, I always am. It's kind of like, you know, I mean, I have multiple IPs, and you're trying to, you know, figure out the best way to get them out there without, you know, oversaturating or maybe publishing something that someone has no interest in. And, but I'm in that stage, and, you know, it's hard to, Graham's doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to like give your product to somebody else. And you say, I want to draw that, but it's like, you can't draw everything. Right. And you can't, if you're going to expand like that, you just can't do everything. And, so, you know, I have it in the back of my mind, but I'm one of those positions where I'm just busy enough that I could use some help, but I'm not making enough money to hire anybody. So.
Right. And it's terrifying, isn't it? Because now you have someone that wants to work, and we've met people because we talk to them and all. And you're like, how great would it be if my buddy Mike Soloff, if you remember him, we should hire Soloff full time. Soloff can do this, but it's like now Soloff's got to move, and we got to help him find a place to stay. You know, like, and it's like growing up, and I don't know if we're ready to grow up.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe I'll come work for you.
Yeah. Kit Carter, Planet Doom.
There it is. Thank you.
By George, my friend. 100 on Indiegogo, 127,136.
Yeah.
Brother, where
16.
are we? Like you said, you're almost done with this book.
I'm waiting for Kelsey to turn in the last of the colors, and he's disappeared, which means radio's silent. So I don't know what's going on, but I do know that when he does that, when he comes back, everything's done. So I'm just hoping that it's sooner than later. We're a couple weeks behind where I'd wanted to be on this, but I mean, in the big picture, I guess it's not that horrendous. But I fully expect to. The book is half colored and lettered, and I know that Kelsey has colors on every single page, so he should be able to wrap it up relatively quickly. Famous last words, right? But
right.
So then it would just be getting half the book lettered, get it proofread, then get it set up for the printer, and then off to the printer. So there's all the extra stuff on this campaign. Like you saw the proof for the movie poster I just showed you guys, and then the sketchbook. You know, the proof for that sketchbook is right here. I just
hang on. Say no more. Let's go, bro.
No, so you get the proofs, right? They send you this stuff, and I'll show you. I'll just show the title page. That's all I'll show. But and you've got your trim lines and all that kind of stuff on here, and your stuff down at the bottom that and you check off this stuff and give it the okay. And so this is being printed and will be in my possession on August 5th. The poster will probably be back right when I get back from San Diego, if it doesn't come back before San Diego. T-shirts have been at the printers. for several weeks, but they had a 2-month turnaround. They were so backed up. So those will come here by the end of the month as well. So everything will kind of land here at the same time. Then we can just start shipping stuff out. So anyway,
I love hearing Aaron Lepresti, the publisher.
I know
we do our professionals, we do our kings, we have our conversations, we talk about art, we share art in our little chats and things like that. But now you're like a full-blown publisher, buddy. You're something.
Oh, dude. I am in the post-production mode right now where I'm not really drawing. All I'm doing is managing. And like, I didn't order enough shot glasses because I ordered a bunch early to because I wanted them on the campaign, right? I want to take a picture of them and that kind of thing. And so, but then they blew up. So I had to go back and order more. And then I still didn't get enough. So I had to go back and reorder more. So those are coming. And my mom's constantly bugging me she wants work.
You're 94-year-old, 92-year-old.
She'll be 93 in August.
Your 92-year-old mother, 93-year-old mother is bugging you
for work
to give her more work.
Right.
So you're lazy.
That's right. And so I have her like wrapping up so I'm pre-ordering stuff earlier, guesstimating numbers so that she'll have stuff to do to keep her busy.
So my 86-year-old mom is here with us for the next 2 weeks, and she's been up since June. And here's the thing. So I bought our home in 1997. Debbie and I were not married yet. So I'm like, Ma, live with me. Right. So my mother lived with me, and then we got married afterwards. But my mother had been there for months living with me. Mm-hmm. My brother lived with me as well. I have an old house, so there's a lot of room.
Well, we know it's a beauty.
Yeah. And well, the thing is that my mother, basically, it was her kitchen.
Oh, and then so Debbie comes in, and
now Debbie, we get married, and now it's Debbie's kitchen. But my mother put things in our kitchen that I remember growing up with. Mm-hmm. So still to this day, 30 years later, I'm still trying to find shit. I'm like, where is this? Why isn't this here? Because Debbie moved it to where she thinks it should be. Right. So now my mom's like 5'9", right? So I'm at my wedding. My mother's still fucking taller than me. I'm like, Ma, scooch down at my wedding. My mother's tall. My sister's 5'11". Everyone's tall but me.
Really?
And Debbie's 5'3". But so here's the thing: is my mother has been here for the past 2 months, I guess, because she lives down in Florida now. In Florida, she's like, I'm not staying in Florida. Can I come with you? And we're like, of course, Mom. But then my mom, the kitchen reverts back to my mother's kitchen, Aaron, and it's driving my wife fucking crazy. So all the
my mom does the same thing. She's been living with us for 10 or 11 years now, and she still goes down there and she's like, I can't find anything. Mom, this isn't your kitchen, okay? Just So why did you put that over there? Why is that over there? You know.
So my wife is out with her girlfriends for dinner, so I keep looking back, hoping she's not here. So, but I kind of like where my mother puts everything because that's how I grew up, where everything should be.
Right.
So exactly. I know where things are. I haven't been able to find things for almost 25 years in my house, my kitchen, until my mom comes here. Then I'm like, oh.
Shelly does the same thing. She just rearranges for no reason. Really? You go down there and go, wait a minute, where is the? I put that over there. Why? But
so how was that with Shelly and your mom? That when you said, like, honey, my mom's gonna live with us. How, like, was that okay? Was that kind of like,
no, it went totally smooth. They've always had a really good relationship. In fact, she had a better relationship with my mom than she did her own mom.
Really?
So it wasn't that big a deal. We had the room, and Josh was at college, so he was out of the house essentially, and so it just seemed like Samantha was still in junior high at that time, and it just seemed like, and we had to take her because she is, my dad passed away, and so then she was living in that house by herself for like 2 years, and she had something happen, and she had to call an ambulance in the middle of the night by herself. We're like, okay, that's it. That's it. You're moving in with us. And no, Shelly was totally cool. So it was never that sort of wife mother-in-law relationship that we always see, you know, in the movies, that it's contentious and horrible. They've got along well, and my mom's been quite a good deal of help to both of us. You know, she's out there, you know, we make her mow the lawn and weed the gardens. I had her out there painting the house. I mean, it's just been amazing what we've got out of her. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but she still does the dishes at, you know, 92 years old. She gets in the morning and does the dishes every morning. I say, Mom, you don't have to do that. She's like, well, who's going to do it if I don't? I went,
oh, see, that's what my mother does. So every Comic-Con, every June into July, I want to lose weight so I can be in shape for Comic-Con, right?
That didn't happen for me this year.
But my mother's here this year. My mother's making chicken cutlets every night. My mother makes the best chicken cutlets. Debbie even says like her chicken cutlets can't compare to my mother. She's making cavatelli with sauce and and sausage and meatballs. My mother makes the best meat, and I'm eating this stuff every free. My poor son, who's a wrestler, he has a tournament. So my son's
trying to keep weight down.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So my son is going to college for architectural engineering, right? That's why he's going to Penn State, but he's going to be wrestling a lot, right? So my son, my poor son Matthew, hasn't eaten. He's got a tournament Sunday because he doesn't stop. He's wrestling all the way through school before he goes to college. And this poor kid my mother adores him, and my mother's making, and you just smell her cooking all day. So I'm up here on the 3rd floor, and I'm like working, and I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, and then and Debbie's like, Ma, you have to stop. And my mother gets upset, because I don't understand, why does he even do that disgusting sport? Like that disgusting sport got him into Penn State. You have no idea. Like my mother said, no, you should have,
right?
Like you don't understand. Like Shelly, you know what I mean? Like where she was going to school. Like you don't understand. He's an elite athlete. He can't smell this stuff because you're going to ruin his whole summer, which is going to whatever. Like a domino affected. Like no, and he's like, "What's that, Yaya? What's that?" My son comes down. It's like, you look too skinny. How do you even live?
Here, eat these rolls.
Like, no, he can't eat this because he's like, I can eat it, and I just won't eat for 3 days. Debbie's like, no, that's because he's on a text message. It's bigger than that. It's some kind of internet thing with a team. They have a workout schedule. They have a diet. Even though they're all apart now until they go to school, and all the wrestlers at Penn State, they put them in a dorm. So they're all in the same dorm building, and they're all roommates, right? So they have because they keep what they do to these kids. It's really great in a way because they're building a family, right? And it's great for me to say because there's no pressure on me. But again, he's already got his family before he even goes to school. But it's really regimental.
They keep an eye on each other, make sure you're not cheating and you're not eating what you're not supposed to be eating, and you don't miss workouts. Yeah,
because there's a lot at stake when they go to school. There's a lot at stake.
Yeah.
And these guys going into the lion's den, and here's my mother, Matthew. He's like, what? You want some meatballs? He's like, yes. Like, no! And now we're the worst parents in the world because how do we explain this to my mother, who's 86 years old, that's cooking every day? Because she's like, what the? I'm like, Ma, he looks like that for a reason. This is why he's going to this school. I thought he was going to be an engineer. Yes, Ma, he's going to be, but it's a lot more complicated than that. The reason why he was able to get into school to be an engineer because he's going to be killing himself for the next 4 years. It's funny trying to explain sports. You know what I mean? Like college NCAA sports. If someone has my mother graduated high school and that was that, and then she. So it's pretty funny. So the thing so Debbie and my mother. So I said to my mother, Aaron, I'm like, Ma, so. We have 2 friends. They're Rock and Damo. They're twins, and they're like brothers of mine. They help us with all of our fulfillments, and they're going to come to hang out for the weekend on Labor Day weekend. right? So they love my mother's cooking, right? These guys eat a lot. So they're like, I'm like, hey, Ma, I know you're going home on August 5th, but you want to maybe go home on September 5th? Because Rock and Dama are coming for Labor Day weekend. And they want, and my Debbie fucking flipped out, dude. Oh my, she's like, have you ever seen my wife? She's got this German face. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? You're asking your mother to stay. It's the greatest thing. Holy shit. I wish he was here. And I'm like, what? I don't know. I just think, because everything's easy for me. I don't have to do anything. My mother's here. She's washing my clothes. I'm a very spoiled young man,
Oh, that is hilarious.
So she's slowly, again, as she does every year when she comes up every summer, she takes over our whole house.
Yeah.
And she becomes like the alpha female. And here's my wife who, she got her mother. My father-in-law passed away 2 years ago, so she's dealing with my mother-in-law. You know what I mean? So so Debbie leaves the house, and then my mother just goes in. She's cleaning the floors, but we have hardwood floors, and she bought. So she asked my son to take her to the supermarket, and she bought Mopping Glow.
How old is your mother now?
86.
Okay, you guys in the chat, see, you think I'm a slave driver with my mom. Look what his mom is doing the floors, for crying out loud.
So last year we come back from San Diego Comic-Con and our floors look stunning. Like, holy shit. Yeah, I mopped the floors. And Debbie's like, what did you mop the floors with? And she said, well, Mopping Glow. So she went and bought Mopping Glow on her hardwood polyurethane.
Oh, you're not supposed to do that. Oh, Lord. Oh.
So I had to go and I had to get a thing to.
You had to like strip it, right?
I had to not strip it, but strip on it was the stripper, but I asked them and they're like, oh my God, you can't put Mopping Glow on those floors. And there's my wife like.
She was doing the Werewolf of London face.
Oh my
right?
God, exactly. She turned into Henrietta Hull. So guys, Kit Carter Planet Doom graphic novel. We have right now 1,600, which is a nice number, Aaron.
I know it's almost like I don't want anybody to back anymore because I want to keep that number, but I do want more people to back. I do.
Dude, you won the Rini War, so you might as well up them backers.
That's right.
Up them up. So yeah, so I have an Italian mother-in-law, so this all rings very true. Yeah, and my mother's Sicilian. Are you Sicilian?
Yeah, I am from my dad's side. My mom is not Italian at all. She's just kind of, waspy European mix. But my grandfather on my dad's side came over from Sicily and fought. Actually, I think he was 16 or 17 and lied about his age and fought in World War I for the United States. Wow. But yeah, he came over he was 16 or 17 because he was underage, but he still fought in World War I for the U.S. And
isn't that extraordinary?
It is. It speaks volumes about the different generations, doesn't it?
Yep, it sure does. So, Aaron, we're gonna close out, but I have to ask you guys something. Something that I found very exciting, if you will. And let's see. God, see, I'm on my PC, so I can't share my stuff. Give me 1 second. It's about the woman who was behind Donald Trump when he was wounded in the assassination attempt.
Right, and she just took video.
And she was right. She's cold as fuck, chill as fuck.
Yeah.
Apparently, is she the FBI? Is this the same woman? Let me find that picture. And I want to ask people in the chat too, and I want to ask you, FBI Director Trump.
Well, it's just one of many bizarre, unexplainable things that happened that day.
Insane, right? Oh my god! Look at me. I was so off on my own myself. Like, did you? So you saw that, right? And remember, she's chill as fuck, or there's something going on with the Iranian threats, right?
Right. They had said that they came out and said that they had reason to believe that some Middle Eastern factions wanted Trump dead, or that there might be on alert for that. They did a fine job of being on alert, by the way, I have to admit.
Right.
I wonder if I could get a job as head of Secret Service. I think I'm as qualified as that woman who's running it.
Why couldn't you? Why couldn't you? So
well, I'm not a good DEI hire. That's why.
Oh, that's why. Yeah. Oh, you don't check enough boxes.
No, I don't check any.
You don't check in. I know, brother. All right. So we're not gonna stay long, but my goodness, Lopez, what is up with this? And tell me if I'm the only one concerned, and if I'm insane, I'm fine with that.
So you're saying,
let's do this.
Janine, you're saying it's this woman here, potentially.
Fuck. What the fuck? People are freaking out. And she's filming. And she's just like right there. She's not even freaking the fuck out.
She popped down.
Fuck? This shit, dude. Watch. She sits down. Yep. Watch this.
She's looking in the direction of the...
Something that said, take a look at what happened.
Shots go off. She's completely normal.
Look at her. Look how chill she is. And then she takes out her camera.
Yeah. What the fuck? People are freaking out. And she's filming. And she's just like right there.
Are they saying that is definitely this
She's
woman?
Not even freaking the fuck out.
So I'm not gonna say. I was gonna say a comic creator. So there's a lot of comic book creators that I talk to, who may or may not be on our side of the aisle.
Okay.
And they're still to this day terrified to be on our side of the aisle.
Right.
But I know them all, and we have these streams. They're all huge names. You guys out there, I'll tell you when I see you. They've never requested, or they've never on social media. They're not out there, but they're sending me all these things, and they're saying, and if I'm wrong, someone correct me, but it looks like it is her. Now, one of our friends who worked for the Labor Department under Trump, she said that there's a legitimate reason for her to be there because of the Iranian threat. Just to be there. But then again, she's cold as ice when that shooting begins. And then what's her first instinct is to whip out her phone and start taking photos or video it.
It's interesting. It's
very interesting. I would love to know what Shelley Lepresti thinks of this.
She's still pissed off at Paul Ravoche for the whole flat Earth thing. She still hasn't recovered from that.
Paul Ravoche is in the King's chat, and I put it out there to invite him because I'm very curious what Paul Ravoche has to say about this.
Well, I am too, because his whole thing is that this is everything. They're all in it together. There is no Dems and Republicans. It's all a big show,
right?
To try and take over and oppress us, which I don't necessarily agree. I don't agree with it entirely, but I agree with some of that. There's certainly rhinos and Democrats working together for their own interests, and they're not ours.
100%.
But for him to go along with his philosophy that he's put out there on Kings, this would have to have all been a charade, the whole thing. But then it's like a charade that cost someone their life and 2 other people injured. They're just byproducts of the charade. I would be interested to hear what his feelings are on this.
Me too, because again, we've heard so many times, sadly, that the ends justify the means. But when you look at it, and again, someone like Trump comes in and he is just throwing a wrench into the cog of the machine. He is just stopping it.
Yep.
And he is everything that they're against. And you saw that because from his first day in office, from his very first phone call to the Australian Prime Minister, it was leaked out.
Yep.
And in the Biden administration, until the past couple of weeks, there's never been one leak.
Nope.
There were leaks daily on the Trump administration. And then,
yeah.
Trump comes in as an outsider. And, well, these people, these great people are working. You keep your jobs. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all part of that.
Yep. Oh, look at as far as this assassination goes, I can go 100% either way. If it was an inside job, it would not surprise me a bit. If it's complete and total incompetence coming from the Biden administration, that wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Right.
So I can go either way. I think there's plausible explanations on either side of that. They're either complete morons, which we know they are, and they just totally screwed this up, or they tried to take out Trump, which wouldn't surprise me a bit. I assume either one of those, or maybe combination of both, is true.
Well, that's the only way I fear that they can beat him, is to kill him.
Well, they've tried everything else.
Yeah, and I don't think they're above that.
No, I don't either.
I don't.
Remember that great line in The Godfather where Michael's trying to get Diane Keaton to marry him, right? And they're walking in front of the car.
Yes.
And she says something like, Michael, he says his dad's just no different than a politician or a big businessman. She goes, Michael, politicians don't have people killed. And he said, now who's being naive?
Yeah. So she said to him, so it's one of the great scenes in cinematic history where Mike says, you're being naive, Kay.
Yeah.
My father is no different than any other businessman or powerful politician.
Right.
And then Kay says, but Michael, senators and presidents do not kill people. And Michael turned and said, now who's being naive, Kay?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And that's 1972. 72.
Yeah.
And we're at this point now, and I love it though that people are doubting this big tech, this big state thing, because this is a government of the people, by the people. Right. And we lost that in the first 20 years of this century.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the only way this country is going to survive is if enough people start saying, no, we're not just going to go along anymore with what you're telling us. And it's just, it's getting so absurd that I don't even know how they expect. I can't believe anybody would be voting for Biden at this point, considering, even if you're a Democrat, I don't know how maybe you don't like Trump, but how could you vote for this party when it's so clearly they've been lying and deceiving people? They're lying about Biden's cognitive ability. And now that they can't hide it anymore, they're going, well, we need to replace him. They've known all along that he's senile.
They raised $25 million in one evening 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
When Obama had to walk him off the stage.
Yeah.
And then now Clooney comes out. The knives are out. It's the Ides of March.
Yep.
Because they've realized now that the jig is up.
Yep.
And now, and so here's the thing, Lopez, is that still today, now there's a lot of reports going out that Biden will not seek re-election.
Right. That's
maybe even this Sunday.
Right.
There's still people, though, saying that he's still in the fight, etc. But you have 60 Democrats. You have all these Hollywood stars saying maybe he should step down. The only person that could stop them from doing so is the president of the United States. He's the only one that could put the kibosh on that. But the money's dried up. No one is giving them money.
Yep.
Right? The coffers are dry. They're withholding the money that they had pledged, $90 million, which is crazy. That's a tenth of a presidential campaign at this point. Imagine that $90 million is just a tenth of the advertising and promotion for a presidential campaign. How crazy are we now that we have billion-dollar advertising campaigns?
It's incredible.
Get out the vote. It's terrifying in a way. So the thing I'm wondering is that if he sticks around, what is the Democratic National Convention going to be like in 2 weeks? He's got 13 days to stay. If he stays for 13 days, he is a lock to be in.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot happening in 13 days. You talk about 13 days about JFK and Khrushchev with the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis. This is 13 days. We are right now in this scenario.
Yep.
So what do you?
It makes you wonder. They tried to take out Trump and it didn't work. Maybe they'll try to take out Biden to get rid of him so they can put someone else in there.
Oh my God!
You know, I mean,
so here's the thing, and I'm curious with the people in the chat, and we're going to end this because I'm just tired too. Give us 5 minutes. But Aaron, what do you think is the Democrats' next step? Will they force him to not seek re-election in the next year? B, who do you think will be the Democratic candidate for president of the United States? And C, can they pull this off? What do you think?
I think at this point, unless they cheat, which is a very strong possibility, they have no chance to win no matter who they put up. They just don't unless they cheat, because they don't have anybody sitting there that people are like, oh yeah, that guy. You put Gavin Newsom up there, he's the worst governor. I mean, there's no one that they can. They're either going to do one of two things, in my opinion. They're either going to say, you know what, we're screwed. All right, we'll just make life as hard as we can for Trump for the next 4 years, get our game plan together, and then take back over after 4 years. We can survive this, right? We've got the money. I mean, we're talking about the elites, right?
Right.
They're always playing the long game anyway, right? I don't know how they can try and take Trump out again without it being so obvious. But they might. But I think it's more than likely, now that he has his own security detail, that's going to be harder and harder to do. So my guess is they're going to pressure Biden. The question is, does Jill Biden want to give up her power? And my answer to that is, they'll drag her away kicking and screaming.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Here's another scenario. So Michelle Obama, it seems, is so entrenched and adores her multi-million-dollar lifestyle. This is a losing game in this election for the Democrats. There are no more swing voters. Trump is up. So Trump is up all across the country. And you have to give them, with the polls, you have to give Trump another at least 2 to 4% on top of that, because the polls are always skewed toward the Democrats.
In a legitimate election, he cannot be beat.
Absolutely, 100%.
Doesn't matter who they run this time around, that he can't be beat. So
I think is that I think Kamala Harris's political career is over.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no way there's no way she'll be a power player. Maybe she will be a power player. There's no way she's ever going to be a candidate in 2024 and 2028. She got like
3% of the vote in the primaries. Right. I mean, she has no chance.
No, there isn't. There really isn't. So you think of that, even in 2020, there was no candidate that could have beat Trump. They bring in Biden because he is the old man, the moderate, which he wasn't, and then COVID, so he could be the basement candidate.
Mm-hmm.
No other Democrat was able to. Who do the Democrats have moving forward?
Nobody.
Whitmer, right?
My gosh.
In Michigan?
She's got to be.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No. Newsom and the press will boost these people up, protect them. But look what Newsom just did this past week and signed into law the bill that parents cannot be notified if their children identify as trans as elementary school kids.
Yep. There's no chance. Of course, Biden didn't beat. I mean, I'm a firm believer that Biden did not beat Trump last time anyway.
Yeah. Well, Biden right now, I saw on, was it 538, that Biden is on par or on the spectrum. What is it? On the level or whatever to win 66 million votes. Now, there are a lot more registered voters today than it was 4 years ago. He supposedly won 81 million votes last year. Right now, he's on par to win 66 million votes. Trump is on par to win 85 million votes.
It's going to be.
How did this guy who's projected to win 66 million votes this year was able to garner 81 million votes 4 years ago?
The only answer, if you're someone who says, "Oh, they didn't cheat," which we all know they did, but let's just say they didn't cheat. The only explanation is you had such an anti-Trump movement. People were voting against Trump. They weren't voting for Biden. They were just voting against Trump.
Right.
And that's a reasonable explanation, but I still don't believe it.
But I agree. I agree with that. But 14 million less people. So if I would have told
he's
you,
a horrible president. Everybody knows it.
Right. So Aaron Lepresti, if I had told you 4 years ago, right now, right, July 18th, 19th, whatever this day is, 2020, that Donald Trump was going to get 10 million more votes in this election and win 17 more House seats and dominate every state legislator and gubernatorial election, right, across the nation in November 2020, that he was going to lose that election, would you have believed it?
No, I still don't believe it.
Right. He won 10 million. He garnered 10 million more votes.
Yep.
And he loses to that guy?
Yeah. No. This is if they can keep the Democrats from cheating, this election is going to be like Reagan and Mondale.
100%.
It's just going to be he's going to win like maybe 2 states, Biden will, and Trump is just going to landslide him.
And let's hope so, because it's too big to steal. That's what we're hoping. Because right now, Trump is up in New Jersey, and he's like 9 points behind Biden in New York State when Biden won New York by 29, or Biden at this point was up 29 points in New York State. And he's only, so Biden's a race. And so Trump is a race at 20 point lead in New York State.
Which is amazing.
Astonishing. In New York State, where there are 5 Democrats to every Republican. Because everyone I talk to, a lot, except for our creator friends and all, and we love them and stuff like that. But my rank and file friends are friends that are neighbors, are friends that we see at dinner, or friends that when we go here and there, they're all voting Trump. And that thing, when that man was shot last weekend and he stood up, when he said, wait a minute, and then he pumped his fist, we cheered at my house. My mother, Debbie, myself, and my 2 sons watching this. It was because we watched it live. And it was just, happened. It was 6 o'clock. We're just eating, right? And then you saw the whole thing happen. And then just, because you saw him go like that and go down, but you don't know if he got shot, whatever.
Right.
And that guy, what he did when he stood up after saying, let me get my shoes on, because they're not taking him off he's not letting anyone take him off without his shoes on, that guy. There's no freaking way. And then he pumps his fist and he says, fight, fight, fight. And what that did to the nation and a message to the world, thank God. And again, I posted on Twitter that I don't go to church as much as I should. But I sure the hell went to mass that Sunday. And it was, Aaron, I don't know if you're a Catholic. It was packed. It was like Easter. And when I walked in, maybe 5 minutes before mass, I couldn't tell you how many people were on their knees praying, and the tears, and then seeing everybody and saying goodbye when we walked out and stuff like that, hugging people. It was such a relief, because where would we be right now if that bullet killed our former president?
Well, I'd be in my truck grabbing my mom and my wife, and we'd be driving to your house cross country, because I know you've got all the ammo and you've got the blueprint for the zombie apocalypse.
Got it all. You'd be saying, and you guys would totally be welcome, 100%.
Well, I would stay out of the kitchen though, because I wouldn't want to piss Debbie off. So,
well, my mother took over the kitchen, but my mother would love Shelly. So my mother would love Shelly. My mother just did not like her son's spouses, and we're all married still to this day. But oh my God, my mother raised 5 boys, 1 girl. My oldest sister was 5'11", Talk about
so
tall.
none of these women are good enough for her boys. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. And I'm the middle son. My mother didn't care about me at all. I was like, I was left alone. It was great.
Until I the overlooked one. Oh,
you got to. So bring your mom, and then your mom and my mom can sit on my porch.
There you go. And
we'll put shotguns in their hands, and they have the best time.
And kibitz about whatever
the old days.
Yep.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Aaron, great to see you, brother. I cannot wait to see you next week. I sent you the link to Werewolf, I think, and the Lion's Share, 2 great restaurants. I know you have your plans and stuff like that, but where are you staying in San Diego?
I am staying in the Hilton Gas Lamp, man. I'm right across the railroad tracks from where my booth is.
Wow, how posh of you. Wow. Well, how'd you get in that one?
When the thing goes, you know how they let you pick your hotel before the regular fans get a chance. They let all the exhibitors have first crack at the hotels. You can thank me for that, by the way, because I complained so many years about that. They finally did it. But I wait till 9 a.m. I type in my list and pray that I end up close. And this time I did. So where are you?
And you're solo. So what's your plans for dinner? I know we're going to see each other Friday, but what's your plans for the other nights? Are you solo? Do you have plans?
Let's see. Tuesday night, I'm hooking up with a friend that works for the con. But I'm coming in late anyway. I won't be in there till like 9 o'clock at night. And then Wednesday, no plans. But Thursday, no plans. Friday, I do have plans with you. And Saturday, I have plans with the Malibu guys.
All right, let me see.
Sunday, I'm out of there.
All right, let me see if I can kick some of the people out on Wednesday and Thursday and get you in there with us.
Just, I don't want to cause any trouble.
No, yeah, my son. I'll get rid of my son if I can. So. Anyway, guys, I know I was supposed to promote my stuff, my Comic-Con stuff, and I didn't at all. I don't care. I have a good time. My brother Aaron Lepresi right here, my fellow bro. Looking forward to seeing you this week, brother.
Yep.
Again, we're all praying for Shelly. Sorry she has to endure all that she's going through, and everyone adores her. Guys, have a great weekend. I might stream tomorrow night. Why not? To promote.
Who knows? Books. Anything can happen.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe Aaron will stream tomorrow and invite us. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. Maybe Ethan will stream. We'll see what we got to do. Yeah. But everyone have a great weekend. Lopez.
Thank you, sir.
You, brother.
Appreciate it.
Guys, check out Wraith of God. No, Wraith of God.
Kit Carter. What?
Kit Carter, Planet Doom. Live on Indiegogo right now, in demand.
You have the longest goodbyes, man. You're like the guy at at Christmas time. They're getting ready to leave the house. You start talking in the kitchen. You get to the front door. You talk for another 30 minutes.
But I'm not like that way in real life. I'm just only here.
Really, you're just out the door in real life.
I'm lonely. I'm so lonely. Anyway, guys, you guys rock. Lopez, love you, brother.
Thanks, Billy.
And have a good time. Let me do my little closeout because now I'll get mad at me if I don't do the closeout. And everyone have a great Friday night. And where's the closeout? Let me find it. Hang on. Now it's got like a million.
I'm gonna do like a puppet show while you're.
No, not. Yeah, here we go. All right. Goodbye, guys.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the Pop XP and over on Instagram at the Pop XP. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.